Thank you for joining Cancer Support Community Atlanta for this cooking demonstration, Easy Mediterranean Meals, facilitated by Ashley Van Cise, Registered Dietitian, Nutritionist, and professionally trained chef. If this is your first time participating in a Cancer Support Community Atlanta program, we invite you to visit our website and complete a new attendee form to stay connected to all future programs.
All right. Hey, everybody. How's it going? We are doing, our theme today is called Easy Mediterranean Meals. And I want to emphasize easy because actually maybe this class should have been called Super Easy Mediterranean Meals. These are the kind of things that you want to have in your back pocket because seriously, both of these are delicious and very, very easy. So if you can pull up the recipes for a second, I'm going to just talk about what we're doing. On the front side, you'll see the lemon salmon with the garlic dill sauce. This is a simple salmon recipe. We don't normally use salmon in these classes because usually back in the day when we had actual live participants in this class, we would sample all the food and eat what we made. So on our food budget, salmon usually didn't make the cut. So today, since I only need to make one portion, we're doing salmon. And it's a really delicious, easy recipe. It uses lemon and dill, which pair really nice with any type of fish. And then the garlic sauce is a sauce that we're actually going to use for the other recipe as well. So it's a sauce that can go with a lot of different things. And I'm going to show you how to use it with the salmon today and also with the salad. And it's super easy. It uses store-bought plain hummus, and then you just add some extra lemon, dill, and garlic to it and water to thin. It's like super easy, but it's delicious. And like I said, we're going to use that garlic sauce on the salad that we're making. This is it's called Greek goddess bowl, or you could, if you're any males in the class, you can call it Greek god bowl, whatever you prefer. Anyways, this dill sauce it sort of acts like a salad dressing for this salad as well. And actually, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually start on the salad first. And that is going to be with cooking the chickpeas. This is sort of the protein of the salad. And so let's just go ahead and start. I've got chickpeas in this bowl that I have rinsed there from a can. And I have them in a bowl with a paper towel. And I'm getting them really nice and dry. They've been rinsed with water. But the idea with this chickpea recipe is that we're going to add some spices and stuff in here. And we're going to roast them in the oven so that they get sort of, not crunchy, but they have sort of a crunch, firm texture, I should say. All right, so they've been dried, but the key to that is getting them dried. Try to get as much of that water off as you can. You can use a towel, paper towel, whatever you like. Okay, now I'm going to get rid of that. And then I'm going to add our spices in here. Your recipe says for the spices, you can vary this up, but we're going to use a little bit of olive oil. You do need some kind of olive oil some kind of oil rather, healthy oil, so that the chickpeas don't dry out. I'm just going to kind of drizzle that over top. We're going to use, let's see, curry powder is our main flavoring in this. And curry powder is got a ton of spices in it. It's a mixture of a bunch of different spices. And your recipe says about 2 teaspoons of curry. Let's see. So you can just eyeball it. And let me read you some of the spices in this. Number 1, I love that it has turmeric in it. You can tell it has turmeric because of its yellow color. Turmeric, which I have here, is very yellow. I don't know if you guys can see that, but anyways, it's got turmeric in it. Turmeric is amazing for inflammation, for reducing inflammation in the body. It also has some really nice medicinal effects, and it can do things that we haven't even studied yet. So I love turmeric. It has a very mild flavor, but it's big on health. And so the other ingredients in here, we've got cumin, coriander, fenugreek, ginger, turmeric, dill, black pepper, red pepper, cardamom, mace, and cloves. So I've got that in there. Now I'm going to add some salt. Got this huge thing of salt. Let's see. I don't want it to dump out. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Just sprinkle that on top. Give it a mix, and we'll stick it in the oven. My oven is preheated already to 375 degrees. We're in our brand new space, by the way. For those of you that didn't join last time, this is now our second time cooking in this brand new kitchen. It looks similar to the old kitchen. So I'm just giving that a stir. You can actually, if you don't want to mess up the bowl, if you don't want to wash an extra bowl, you can actually just mix and do this straight on the sheet pan. I have a piece of parchment paper even on the sheet pan so that when this is done cooking, the cleanup is really easy. You just throw that paper away. Okay. So just make sure it's not mounded up. That way they have the moisture in the chickpeas can come out and it doesn't steam. It roasts when they're spread out in one even layer. Okay, so that's what that looks like. That's going in the oven. Our brand new oven, which this is the first time using it, but I can already tell it's way better than the oven in the old space. Okay, so we're gonna let that go for, I don't know, what does your recipe say? I always do like 15 to 20 minutes. Your recipe says 20 to 23 minutes, but honestly, it's flexible. So let me go ahead and set a timer for that so I don't forget. Let me see if there's a timer over here. Timer. Let's do 20 minutes. And is there a start? See if it works. Okay, I think it's gonna start, maybe. Okay, well, if that doesn't start, we'll just guesstimate the time. Okay, so chickpeas are in. Now we're gonna start making our bowl. And actually, I'm gonna use a plate for this, so even that is flexible. But let's use blue, why not? We're gonna prep the ingredients and then we're gonna arrange them really pretty on this plate or bowl, depending upon what you want to serve. But so each person that you're serving for is gonna have a separate bowl. And you can get creative with how you serve this, but this is just one idea. So I'm gonna get room for my cutting board here. Let's move this bowl out of the way. And we'll start working on our veggies here. So I've already washed everything. I have romaine lettuce in this salad spinner. Most of you are probably familiar with the salad spinner, but it's a nice tool to have when you're working with lettuce and herbs, especially. So what happens is you wash your produce, stick it in this, and then depending upon what kind you have, you give it a really strong spin, and that just takes off so much water. I don't know if you can tell how much water is in here, but there's probably at least like a half a cup of water in there that's spun off this lettuce. And by getting that water off, you're not going to water down your dressing, and your salad's not going to be soggy. So that's super important to get. And a salad spinner is just a nice way to do that. If you don't have a salad spinner, just give it time to dry in some towels, and it should hopefully work as well. So this is our romaine lettuce. I love because it's super crunchy. And then I'm just going to kind of line it up. I'm actually get rid of these bottom pieces. I'll use that as my garbage bowl. You could change up the type of lettuce though. These are all just ideas. You could go for kale, you could go for anything, arugula. Okay, set this aside in here. Okay, And then we're going to do parsley. And you may be wondering why to add parsley to a salad. But parsley is super popular in countries in the Mediterranean. And they don't use it like in the US. Sometimes we just use this as like a garnish, but parsley is actually used as an ingredient. Think tabbouleh salad. One of the main ingredients in that is parsley. The whole thing is basically parsley. So parsley actually has a lovely flavor. So we're just going to add this in with our other ingredients. I'm just going to do a super rough chop. You don't have to take the leaves off of it. You can just cut right through the thin part of the stem at the top. And then we're just going to kind of we're going for like an arrangement here of the different items so you can see everything. And then we've got some olives. So I purchased pitted Kalamata olives. But honestly, if you want to do a variety of olives, you could try going to the olive bar at the grocery store, whichever grocery store you like, and getting like a mix of different olives there. Let me see if I can find a spoon to get these out. Get back here. Not that drawer. Here we go. Okay, you can choose what you want to do here. You can chop these if you want, or leave them whole. I'm just going to place them like right here in the center. We'll get a close-up of the plate after this is finished. But if you want to slice them up, you can. I'm just going to leave them whole. You know what? We're going extra easy, right? We all need a little easy right now. Something a little easier. This is a tomato. Your recipe says cherry tomatoes, but a whole tomato is absolutely fine. Let me clear off this parsley. So if you want to do cherry tomatoes, I would just half those, or you can do some sliced tomato. That's plenty. The salad is, think of this plate as one serving. It's huge, huge salad. So I'm just kind of dicing those. We're going to put sort of like a fan of those there. This is extra. Okay, and then we have cucumber. Let's see. Slice. This was a large, one of those big English cucumbers that came in the plastic. I'm just going to cut it down the center. Give it a slice. We're going to arrange those here. I feel like one of the things about eating, especially like fresh ingredients, one of the things that makes it more appealing is making it beautiful. Even I notice this so much with my kids. The presentation is, if you just change it up, it could be cutting it at the stick size versus rounds versus I have like a crinkle cutter that sometimes I use that makes like a zigzag cut on the vegetable. Just changing it up just makes it look so much, can just make it look so much nicer. All right, so we have some carrots. I'm just going to cut off the top, the bottom, and I'm going to try like on this carrot, I'm going to try like a sort of a slanted cut here to give, so instead of cutting it into rounds straight like this, I'm holding the knife a little bit to the side and just giving it a longer look to it, which makes it look sort of different. I don't know. Get some orange. This is seriously like, this plate is a very good example of the idea of eating the rainbow, which we know is so good for us. Okay, so there's a carrot. And then we have, that's pretty much it for the veggies. So I'm going to kind of spread it out since knowing that's the last thing. There we go. And then you can look over on the side here of optional servings. So this is where you can get creative depending upon what you have on hand or what you like. So we're going to use the garlic dill sauce for sure. It's sort of like a drizzle for our dressing. I also have listed here a tzatziki sauce, which is yogurt. The traditional way to make it is yogurt, cucumbers, and dill. You can buy that or you can make it. I also have listed baba ganoush, which if you've ever been to a Mediterranean restaurant, you know what that is. That's a dip made from roasted eggplants. So that is actually what I bought today. This is from a company called Cedars. You may have seen this in your store. And it's a pre-made baba ganoush. And the ingredients look really great. So it's just roasted eggplant, sesame, tahini, garlic, salt. So those are the main ingredients in this. So it's pretty much very simple. But we're going to try that today. So what I would do with this is the spoon that I use for the olives. So I'm just going to give it a stir. I mean, you can obviously make that on this on your own, but then our recipes wouldn't be called easy, would they? I'm just going to, kind of do that on the side. And then we'll go with our dressing on top. Also, I have listed here za'atar seasoning. I love this spice. I love this spice blend. I found this in Trader Joe's. I used to buy it at DeKalb Farmers Market. It may or may not be in the regular, like a traditional grocery store, but definitely this is a new product at Trader Joe's. And the ingredients in here are toasted sesame seeds, thyme, margarine, coriander, oregano, sea salt, sunflower oil, and lemon oil. This stuff is awesome. It says sea salt, but it only has 25 milligrams of salt and a quarter of a teaspoon. It doesn't have much. So honestly, I love this spice so much. You don't have to cook it. I just kind of do a little sprinkle of that over top. I love this stuff. You can use it on fish, you can use it on chicken and like the marinade. For chicken, this stuff is great. Really, really good. Another thing that we've done with this in the class before is taken pita bread, cut it into triangles, brushed a little olive oil on it, sprinkle this on it, and toasted it in the oven. That's like a homemade pita chip. That's really, really good. So za'atar seasoning, yummy. All right, so let me make the garlic dill sauce now. Oh, where are the bowls? Here we go. The timer never set on that, but I'll just check it in a minute. Okay, garlic dill sauce. Recipe is on the front of your page underneath the salmon recipe. The secret ingredient in this is store-bought hummus, just plain store-bought hummus. And we need about a quarter cup. So I'm not even going to measure it because it's that easy. Let me just get a spoon. We've made this before in the class. Does anyone remember this recipe? Maybe some of you do. But I feel like it's a good reminder to even do it again because it is just that good and it is that easy. And people are always like, ooh, yum. Okay, so it's hummus. And then we got lemon, fresh lemon. Don't try to get by with like the lemon, store-bought lemon that you get in like the juice container. Definitely do fresh. So we need about 1 to 2 tablespoons of this. And really it just depends upon, the flavor of your store-bought hummus. So you can just start with 1 tablespoon and then taste it and see how you like it. Okay, so let's do this. So that was about a half a lemon. I'm going to save the rest of the lemon for our salmon. Okay, and then we have a little bit of fresh dill, which I put here. They actually had this in the store sold as like a big bunch, which you don't always see. But you can use dried dill if you'd like. There's a measurement here on your recipe that says 1 to 2 teaspoons of dried if you can't find the fresh, if it's out of season or just can't find it. But fresh is really, really nice. I love it. So try to avoid the big stem in the center. That's just like too big. You can just break off the fronds, the dill. It smells so good. Okay. We're going to use a little bit of this on our salmon as well. Okay. So just eyeball it. That's about 1 tablespoon. And then we have garlic. So I'm going to save that for our salmon. We have I'm going to use 1 clove of garlic. It says 2, but I get sensitive to the strong taste of really raw garlic. So we're just going to use 1. That's totally up to you though. Take off the skin and give that a mince. Has anyone gotten their knife sharpened since last class? Can you unmute yourself and let us know if anybody got their knife sharpened and what you think? I'm going to make that your homework. I know it's kind of a strange time to be going out the stores, so I'll give you a year to get it done. How about that?
When the flea markets start back up, there's a guy at the Roswell flea market.
Okay.
And he will sharpen your knives for you while you shop.
Ooh, I love that. That's such a good tip. Very nice. There was a guy when I was in culinary school. There was a guy I was in New York City, and there was a guy in the Chelsea market who would do that. It was really cool. Okay, so far in our bowl, we have the hummus, the garlic, the dill, the lemon, and now I'm going to add just a little bit of water to this. Use filtered water if you're at home. So just a little water. And that is to thin all of the ingredients. So the lemon is going to help thin it a little bit. But the water, you want this to be pourable, as if it was a salad dressing pouring out of a jar. The hummus is very thick. But since you've added the extra flavor of the garlic and the lemon and the dill, you're not losing any flavor by adding that water. And then you just see what happens. It's just amazing. Now you have a dressing, a salad dressing. You want to be able to lift, spoon it and pour it like this. And it works. You don't need a whole lot. That was probably about a tablespoon or 2 of water. And that will be our dressing. So literally, I will just do it right now. I can just drizzle this over the top. We actually have to put our chickpeas on this as well. But yeah, so you've got a little drizzle of this. And it's like a hummusy type flavor. But, not hummus, not like a thick blob of hummus. Like you already have the baba ganoush there. So that is wonderful. That is our salad. So easy. And looks amazing. Okay, so now we're going to switch gears. Let me check on our chickpeas here. I do smell them. Okay, but they're not quite done. We're going to give them a little more time. Let's see. Okay, so let's get our salmon ready to go into the oven. I'm going to do that on this side. Is that okay? Okay. Let me get it out of the refrigerator. Okay, if you're working with a giant piece of salmon, like let's say you're serving 4 people or your whole family, you want to slice it into your portions before you cook it while it's raw. It's so much easier to slice that way. When it comes out of the oven, if it's in a big piece, it sort of crumbles. But if you go ahead and slice it into like individual portions like this, like I just did this in the store, then you're be way better off when it comes out of the oven. Okay, so I'm going to just transfer this onto the sheet pan. This is just 1 piece of salmon, but you'll obviously cook more unless you're 1 person, then you only need to have 1. But I got our fish at Whole Foods. I feel like it's super fresh there. And I like buying it there because they have all the ratings of sustainability, like whether it was farm caught, whether it's like a fish that's endangered. They actually don't have any of those type of fish there, but they've got the rating on there. So they do all the research for you to tell you, the mercury, like all that kind of stuff. So it just seems like a good choice because buying fish can be tricky. You just don't know. Anyways, salmon on the pan. Let me throw this away. We're going to do a little bit of olive oil on it so it doesn't dry out in the oven. So I just drizzle that on top. And then I like to use one of these brushes just to kind of get everything coated. Okay. And then our recipe says salt and pepper, a little dill, and a little lemon. So let me get the lemon. Let's see, where's that salt? And the dill is here. And then we have pepper. Okay. So super simple ingredients. Pepper. Freshly ground pepper is way better than the pre-ground. You get much better flavor out of the grinder. Little salt. I'm shaking this a lot, but I swear not very much is coming out. You don't need much. Let's do your dill. And then you could do this one of two ways. You can go ahead and slice you could squeeze fresh lemon on it and bake it that way, and then put your fresh lemon on top, or slice these really thin, take out any seeds. You can actually bake it with the lemon on top, which is what I'm going to do. I don't even know what your recipe says. What? Let's see. It says pat it dry. I would only do that if it looks super wet. I wouldn't worry about that if it's not wet looking. Okay, so a little olive oil, salt and pepper, dill, and then it does say lay the lemon slices over top. Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking. So I just cut those into little like half moons. I'm just gonna lay it on top. It looks so good. And that way when it cooks, that lemon is gonna come out and it's just gonna go over top of the salmon. And then depending upon the taste, if you want to add more lemon after it comes out, you can just serve it with like a little lemon wedge. Okay, let me check on the chickpeas, and then we'll put the salmon in. And the salmon, depending upon its thickness, it does not take long. So this must be like a part of the center cut of the salmon. So it's pretty thick. I'm going to say it's going to take like at least 10 to 12 minutes. If you have a long piece of salmon and part of it is very thin, that thin part is going to cook really fast. So a trick that you can do is kind of fold that really thin piece under, season it and everything. But then after you season it, like fold it under so that it's like, it kind of becomes the same thickness as the rest of it. And then that way it'll cook a little slower and it won't get dried out. But I love fish because it's very healthy, obviously, and it does not take long at all. I mean, this looks so good and it was very easy. Does anyone have any questions? Let me know if we have any. I know these are so easy, so you may be like, I got it. I don't need any help.
I have a question about fish.
Yeah.
Taste-wise, I prefer the Atlantic salmon.
Yeah.
Is that, what about the healthiness of it? I've heard mixed reviews.
On the Atlantic, is it like farmed? Is it is it fresh?
And I get it from Whole Foods or Fresh Market.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say, to be honest with you, because it all depends upon like what they're eating in the wild, what they're eating in the farm. There's nothing unhealthy about it. If you want to go, like what I've heard is that the healthiest is the wild, like coho salmon. My problem with that is that I have a hard time getting my kids to eat that because it is so like I want to say wild tasting. It's got a strong flavor. So honestly, I prefer the Atlantic salmon as well, because it has like the best flavor. Like that's not too strong. And you're getting the health benefits from it no matter what. It may not be the highest or the best or the most amazing, but I'm okay with that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. So these are the chickpeas. You could let them go a little longer, but I want to go ahead and get the salmon in. They smell good. Smell really good. All right, let me just do the timer on my phone until I figure out the timer on that oven. So I'm just gonna do it for 10 minutes. And we have plenty of time to chat now. It was funny because I made this recipe handout about 3 weeks ago. And then I came back to it yesterday because I was shopping and I started thinking about the class and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this class is going to be, there's like nothing to this class. They're so easy. But you know what? I feel like we all need a little bit more of that. So these are you would, let these cool because you don't want to wilt any of your greens or your cucumbers or anything. But then you can just kind of do a little bit of those on the side. Can they get a close-up of that? So you've got all of your different stuff there. I just love this. I don't know. It just looks so good. And it was not hard, you guys. This is like, come on now.
Yeah.
I feel like I could easily put this together for like a lunch just for myself, I feel like it's hard to justify spending a lot of time on a meal when it's just you eating, at home. But I would love putting all this stuff together for myself for a lunch for one, or, a dinner for 10. Not that we're doing that right now or anything, but save it for later. Any other questions? What do you guys want to, okay, so what can we talk about some of your favorite meals in the Mediterranean, within the Mediterranean theme? There's so many, I think I was reading there was like 20 plus countries in that region of the Mediterranean. And I would love to hear some other ideas if anybody has anything that pops into their mind.
On the parsley, what type
Yeah.
of parsley do you usually cook with? I've noticed there's several different kinds.
Oh, that's a good question. So today I used flat leaf parsley, but you can absolutely use that curly leaf. There's nothing wrong with the curly leaf. I feel like that curly leaf gets a bad rep because it was used in like the 80s on the side of your plate that no one ever ate. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with that curly leaf parsley. It's good too. I would say whichever one is freshest or whichever one is on sale. But whichever one is freshest is a good choice. And these herbs are actually really easy to grow too. So we can talk about that as well if anyone's interested in.
Do you grow yours in a pot? Do you grow yours in a pot or in the ground?
In the pot. I feel like it's super easy to do it in a pot. And so you want to make sure you have really good soil. That's number one. I usually buy my soil from like Home Depot or from Pikes. You can get organic soil if you want to. But having really good soil is number one best. Don't try to recycle soil from like an old plant or something. And then I usually buy the plants from like either Pikes or Home Depot that are already started in a small little pot. Then you transplant it into a larger pot with the really good soil. And then honestly, from there, you just give it some sun, make sure it stays, it has enough water. So like in the summertime, you might have to water it every day, but depending upon when it rains and all that, just feel the soil. If it feels dry, give it some water. And then I have a parsley plant that has like survived the winter. It's still going strong from like the summertime. I don't even know how that's possible, but it's just in my front yard in a pot. and it was growing in there with some chives, and that was it. I think just chives and parsley, and the chives didn't make it, but the parsley is still like, I'm still using it now. It's kind of weird, but it survived the winter. I don't think they normally do that. But yeah, some rosemary is super easy. Parsley, dill, you can do that one pretty easily. Chives, it's kind of nice to have those. And then it reminds you to use them regularly in cooking, and you don't have to buy them. They do get expensive. Has anyone thought of any Mediterranean meals yet?
I came up with a recipe many years ago.
Okay, cool.
We liked avgo lemino, and I wanted to make it easy, so I use Lipton noodle soup and make that according to the directions. And then you take 2 eggs and beat them well until they're frothy, and add 4.5 tablespoons of lemon juice. And then you take some of the hot soup after it's made and you put it into the egg lemon mixture and mix it up so that you're not adding the egg back into too hot a liquid. And when you turn off the stove and take the pot off the stove, and then you can pour the mixture of the half a cup of half a cup of soup added to the lemon and the egg, and then pour it back gently into the soup and stir it off the heat.
Oh, cool. How'd that come out?
It's great. We usually eat it whenever we go on a trip and we come back tired and want something to eat. That's what we eat.
So tender. It feels like
it goes well with anything else Mediterranean too.
Yeah. Very good idea. I love it.
Yeah, I was going to say, we have one participant said that she's a master gardener, and yes, she said parsley does well in winter in Georgia. Usually it is biannual. And I can say that yes, rosemary does very well because I am far from a master gardener and mine has survived. So that is impressive. We also had another question in the chat box. Someone said they noticed you're using parchment paper. Is there any benefit to that over using like aluminum foil?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. So there is some, like, the verdict is still out on whether or not the aluminum, like the metal and the aluminum foil, transfers into your food. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like the microwave question, and there's not one solid answer. So that's why I just use a parchment paper, like the unbleached brown parchment paper is what I prefer. It works amazing because it creates a super nice nonstick surface on the pan, and then it just, you saw how I was able to just like pick that up and transfer it over to the plate. The same goes if you're trying to transfer it into like a serving dish. And so I don't know. I like it. I do use aluminum foil sometimes if I am, trying to cover up like a lasagna or something, because obviously this doesn't work the same way as foil does to like really wrap something. So I do use aluminum foil sometimes, like covering lasagna, covering up, trying to seal in bread if you're trying to make it really soft. But I just use parchment paper on the sheet pan whenever I can.
Yeah. Okay. And then someone else asked, is there any benefit to using dry beans versus canned beans?
In terms of the health benefit, I believe there's not any difference. And the canned beans, let me see if I still have the can. You don't have to buy this brand or anything, but when you're looking at the canned beans, try to find one that is literally just the bean and water, or maybe salt. But this one is just beans and water. And so there's no like added, I forget what the additives are that sometimes you find in canned beans. But if you look, you'll be surprised. Sometimes, especially like the more inexpensive brands, you'll see they've got some like preservatives in there and stuff. So when if you buy a quality canned bean, then it's the same nutritionally. If there's obviously lots of benefits to getting the dried. They're much less expensive. sometimes I feel like the taste, is you can season it while it's cooking, so you can like really amp up the flavor. And so if you have a pressure cooker, doing the dried beans might be worth it. But if you do not have the time or the energy, just look for a can that has beans and water only. They might be a little bit more expensive, but it's definitely worth it to not have those preservatives in there. But nutritionally, you're going to have the same amount of fiber, the same amount of calories, the same amount of nutrients, either way.
When you use parchment paper, does that let you eliminate greasing a pan?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
great.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. I know. And one thing I did just think of on the parchment paper, you do have to be careful. I know from experience, you can catch it on fire. So if you are, if you're like broiling something and you've got this like right underneath of the burner, that's our timer for the fish. You want to, don't let it get too hot. I think the box says like 450 degrees or 425 degrees or something like that. It will, because it's paper. It will catch on fire. Okay, so all right, our salmon is done. I'm going to turn this off. Let's see, where's the off? There it is. And then we get our towel. I just love the presentation that the lemon has on the top of this. Here, I'm going to transfer this off to a plate. This is like the easy way to cook salmon. You can like try to crisp up the skin on the stovetop, things like that. But remember, we're doing easy. All right, let me see if I can find here we go. So when I do this, I like to just go right in between the fish and the skin. I mean, you can eat the skin and serve that if you want to, but this is what I'm used to doing just because I know my kids are not going to eat. You're not going to want to mess with the skin there. And then that will just lift right off, and then you have your serving. Oops. Let me go out this way. Of salmon. That was like 10 minutes. There's the lemon. Have your lemon wedge on the side. If you want more lemon, this is really good. I mean, you could make this sort of a meal here if you want to. You could also serve this with rice, veggies. It's very flexible. You can see that there in terms of serving with salmon. I feel like it goes with a lot, all kinds of different kinds of grains. You could do a million different kinds of vegetables or salad. Does anyone have any is any side dishes popping into mind? You could do potatoes, tons of roasted vegetables. The options are really endless there.
Yeah, corn on the cob. I love that.
Corn on the cob. Nice. I've been doing something in my house, making a theme for the different days of the week to try to help me get more variety into our meals and help with planning our meals and grocery shopping and everything like that. So one of my days is like a flex day. Actually, I have more like two of the days are like a flex day where it's literally just like I try to clean out the refrigerator and use like as much as I can in there. And like, even if it's just like not even a whole serving. And then we just kind of line it up on the table, and then you just take a little bit of whatever you want. I don't know why I just thought of that, but I just feel like it almost gets you into like a zero waste, because I'm using like random things, just just sauteing some onions, just to use up the onions that are, and then it makes the grocery shopping so much better. Is anyone else doing that?
Yeah, we do that.
Haven't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
It just works, but it could work for something like this, for the salad, because you don't have to use these particular vegetables. You can use, like let's say you have leftover broccoli from another meal. You just put that on here. Kind of make your salads based on the ingredients that you have on hand, even if they're cooked, even if they're already roasted, or little leftovers. It definitely works. Oh, and then almost forgot with our salmon, we were supposed to put this dressing on it. So this salmon gets, a little drizzle of this. So you can choose whether or not you drizzle it over top of those lemons, because you're not going to want to eat that lemon, but you can put those on the side if you want, and then drizzle. This is just, like just a good drizzle of dressing on top. So you get more dill, more lemon. You can do it like that if you want, and then put those back on top.
I feel like that's a good idea too for like soups and stews, to kind of at the end of the week just see what vegetables you have left and kind of toss those in.
Yeah, absolutely.
We did have someone in the chat box ask, what's the name of the spice mixture that you get at Trader Joe's?
Okay, it's called Za'atar. It's listed on your ingredients under the optional servings. It's the very last thing. It's spelled Zaatar, Za'atar, with a Z. So if you don't regularly shop at Trader Joe's, you can also find this in some ethnic markets, also in DeKalb Farmers Market, which I haven't gone to in forever, but Trader Joe's has this now, which I was very excited about, because the only other place I could regularly find it was DeKalb Farmers Market. So yeah, I just sprinkled that. I mean, sprinkle it over that if you want. I love it.
And then there were some questions about the olive oil, I think drizzled on the salmon. Do you have to use olive oil? Can you use are there oil alternatives that you could use, I guess like avocado oil or something?
Yeah, absolutely. Avocado oil, if you like that. Definitely choose a healthy fat, though. That's all I can say. I've been trying to avoid some of the vegetable oils like canola oil and things like that. I only use that sparingly in baking. These like olive oil and avocado oil, those are going to have really nice health properties. Plus, think Mediterranean. They use a ton of olive oil in that part of the world. So olive oil, or yes, avocado oil will work perfectly well too. Now, I know you guys have you may have heard me say this before, but when you are looking at the different kinds of oils, especially olive oil, you want to choose one that has a dark bottle, because one of the things that degrades the quality of the oil is light. So that can narrow down a few of the different olive oil choices. So you want to go dark bottle. You want to always keep it sealed. Try to avoid putting it in a container that has like the spout on it on your countertop. You want to make sure it's always sealed, and then you want to store it away from heat. So store it away from your stovetop in the pantry. Those are some of the things that are going to really help keep it fresh. Another thing is that you want to look, some of them have a best by date. So check that out, make sure it's not old. Also, I don't buy it in the huge containers because I want to keep it super fresh. And my worry with those big containers is that it's going to go bad before I can use it all. And yes, it is more expensive. Also, on the label, you can look for a couple different things. You want to find extra virgin and first cold pressed. Those are two things that are going to let you know it has the most flavor, obviously, but the highest health properties too. Those healthy oils and healthy fats. Were these too easy, guys?
I think we got another question too, asking about for like the olive oils and canola oils. Are there any misters that work well and don't get clogged up?
Ooh, that's so tricky. So the one that I used to have, I got it as a present. You're right. It's hard to clean out. And then you end up having like rancid oil in there if you can't get it really clean. So it works for a while, but then, you get oil in there stuck into the sprayer and you can't get it out. And then it's like ends up, I don't know, so I have not found one. I mean, if you need a sprayer, I would just buy that, spray type bottle in the store. That way, when it's done, it's done. You don't have to refill it unless someone has found one. Because I haven't done research on this since I had to get rid of my other one, which was probably like at least 6 years ago. So maybe something has come along since then. Has anybody found like a reusable sprayer for oil? I know they have a lot of them now in the store that you can buy that are just ready to go. Has that worked for whoever asked the question? Have you ever been able to find those? What's that? Another thing you can try is like what I did here today with this brush. These brushes are really nice because if you pour the oil into like a small little dish, just dip your brush and then you can just spread a little bit. That way you can avoid like dumping. It does mean you need to wash the brush, but you can just throw this in the dishwasher. And so then that way you're not like getting a huge amount of oil and you know that your oil is staying fresh. Plus they're better for the environment. I know those like aerosol, those sprayer containers are not, obviously it creates more waste.
Oh, we did get another question. Have you ever used the grain farro? I think I'm saying that right. Farro in any dishes? It seems to be a lesser known grain.
Yeah. It's not one that farro. Yeah. Yes, I love it. So farro, it's just like, I mean, you cook it a little differently, but you can treat it just like rice in terms of your dishes. So I love putting a variety of grains, trying to get a variety of grains into your diet. So you could on this bowl, you could add a grain, a farro or a rice or a bulgur or, any of those funky grains, whatever you have on hand, couscous, quinoa. If you want to add a grain to this, absolutely. It goes with all of this stuff. And even with the sauce or, pair it with your salmon. One of the things I like to do with the grains, because they don't have so much flavor, just cooked with water, is just saute some onions and garlic and then, toss your cooked grain in that just to give it a little extra flavor. But yeah, I love farro.
And then I think the last question we got in, can you talk about where you got the baba ganoush?
Oh yeah, so that was this container. You know what? We should try it. I didn't even try it. Let me see what I can try it with here. I'm just gonna put it on some lettuce. Let me try it and make sure it's good. That way I don't tell you guys to buy it and you're like, whoa. Because some of these pre-bought things, you just never know. So okay, here, I just put it on a little bit of romaine. It's actually really good. I love it. Oh, yay. Okay, so I got it at Whole Foods. So I haven't explored other stores. I have not tried to look for this anywhere else. It is so good. Has anyone seen this in the store? It does say new on the package.
At the DeKalb Farmers Market. And they also have fresh tabbouleh and hummus.
Yes, I have had that, and that is so good too. If anybody lives near there or goes there once in a while, they do have fresh made baba ganoush, hummus, tabbouleh. All that stuff is delicious at the DeKalb Farmers Market. Has anybody been there? I haven't gone there. Gosh, in so long. Has anybody been there recently?
Yeah, a month ago.
Yeah, I haven't been going to Oh, you did? Okay. How was it shopping there during the pandemic? I wasn't sure.
That was not a problem.
Okay.
The prices of produce were not that cheap, and
Okay.
it's still good, but it's maybe not quite as good as it's in the winter. Maybe that's the difference.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean the prices of produce I feel like are going up everywhere. So that could be a pandemic thing. But yeah, this maybe you can find this in your grocery store. Like I'm thinking maybe Publix. I don't know. Publix has crazy things like this sometimes. But definitely they had it at Whole Foods. So be on the lookout for this. This is really nice. This is like a super fun alternative to hummus. What else, guys?
What is
Did
the
I
name
miss?
of that brand?
The name of the brand is called Cedars. It's
Uh,
actually the same brand that made the hummus that I found. So maybe you've seen the hummus in the store. Um, I have bought this hummus at Publix before. So maybe I don't know, maybe since it says new, maybe we'll start seeing that around more often. Did I inspire you guys to eat a salad today or go, to get some Mediterranean for takeout?
you inspired me to buy a spinner.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. Okay, so on the spinner though, I do not love this one, by the way. This one actually it's kind of funny. This one belonged to my brother that I just donated to this kitchen because um, the pumping part of this is kind of difficult. It's kind of difficult to get it going as fast as you really want it to. Um, Look at the reviews before you buy one. This is a good size for sure. But make sure you check the reviews. Don't necessarily go with this one unless the reviews are like amazing. But I had a little bit of difficulty getting that one to go really fast.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, so next.
A lot of people in the chat box saying it looks very delicious and that they're jealous we can't enjoy it.
I know. I'm sorry, guys. That's why you're just gonna have to make it. I do wish you guys were here though. That would be fun to share this with you. All right, guys. It is 12 o'clock. Are there any final questions? There is another cooking class. Kitty, do you want me to tell them about the next cooking class?
Yeah, I think it's March 8th. And I can't remember off the top of my head what we'll be talking about.
I can look at my phone really quickly, but I don't have the. But yeah, it's March 8th. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Oops. All right, here's the email. Okay, new ways to love greens. So that'll be timely. The weather will be starting to warm up. So new ways to love greens. I'll try to incorporate some less common greens.
And I want to remind everyone all of the recordings of today's program and past cooking demos are available on the website too, along with the recipes. So you can find those under the nutrition tab.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for joining us. And thank you, Ashley, as always.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Thank you for joining Cancer Support Community Atlanta for this program. If you're interested in other live or recorded programs, please visit the online program tab of our website, cscatlanta.org, or follow us on Facebook. We'll be sharing additional information on upcoming programs.